So I was an undergraduate, and then I was a graduand, and as of Friday at about 12 p.m, I am now officially a graduate. The day started with getting up at 5:30 so we could make it to Oxford and anticipate any traffic that was going to be present, and then we eventually arrived at the auditorium to be prepped for what it is that we had to do to make sure that we don't trip up on our gowns or muck up our Latin. So everybody who was graduating in my college descended upon the auditorium, and we got suited and booted in our gowns and caps and mortarboards, and underneath all of that we were wearing our subfusk. If you've been watching these videos, you'll know that subfusk means under black, and it is what we wear for exams. However, you also wear it for when you are matriculating, i.e. becoming a member of the university, and when you are graduating from the university. For guys, subfusk just consists of wearing a suit with a white bow tie, and then you wear your gown on top. You also have to carry a mortarboard, and you must make sure that you're wearing dark socks with no additional patterns, and if you are wearing additional patterns, make sure no one finds out. For ladies, it's a skirt, a blouse, a ribbon around your neck, and then your gown on top, and you must be wearing black tights. You can switch this up depending on which gender you identify with as of last year. So during this introduction, we were taught how to put on our hoods, and we were also taught how the proceedings would, well, proceed. So this was what direction we should walk in, where we're exiting, how we are standing up, when we should clap, or when people are clapping at us. Apparently, a lot of the ceremony consists of people clapping at us, and it turns out that that is true. So then we make a 10-minute walk to the Sheldonian Theatre. The Sheldonian is a Grade 1 listed building, and it was designed and created by Sir Christopher Wren, also the guy behind St. Paul's Cathedral. It is a fantastic building that has existed for about 300 years, and it is where all of the great ceremonies of Oxford University take place. For instance, our matriculation took place there, and at that moment in time, we're about to embark on graduating in this building. You enter this building, you take your seats, and eventually the ceremony begins to take place with all of your friends and family sitting around you while you're in the centre, and the Vice-Chancellor of the university and the proctors and the registrar are all sitting down at the front of the column in the high chairs with their caps on, and they are the only ones who are allowed to wear their caps in the Sheldonian. Actually, I should clarify, the registrars are not allowed to wear their caps. Everybody else, they are allowed to wear their caps, and that is purely a sign of respect for their status. And then the Vice-Chancellor gives a speech before the ceremony officially begins to take place. That is the Latin part of the ceremony. And the values and the description of what it is that we went through to get our degree, and what it means now that we have our degree as we embark on the next chapter in life. I really liked what he said. So Oxford University was founded to separate the truth from the seemingly true. If you look at the ceiling of the Sheldonian, you will see this painting that is symbolising the separation between the mythological kind of religious aspects of what was considered the truth and what science was saying was true. And the Vice-Chancellor made a point of saying that even back then Oxford was ahead of its time. And he also argued that Oxford was still ahead of its time by saying that if you look closely at the painting, you can see one of the angels is holding an iPad. Not sure if I'm convinced by that, but the ethos and the belief that is ingrained, that's underlying everything that he was saying, I strongly believe in. This great search for truth has been happening throughout our entire society, and when you speak and you're unsure as what you're saying is true or not, go find out. If someone proposes something to you and you're unconvinced by the argument, challenge it, research it, think critically about what it is that you're being told. All the time. It is through constantly challenging our own beliefs that we can reform those beliefs and reinforce them and make them stronger. And it's this search and pursuit for truth that I think we have been given the skills to be able to help with. At least for me, that is what graduation represents. It is a stamp of approval from the university that says, yes, you have the skill set necessary to carry on the beliefs that we have enshrined from the founding of this university. I am rambling, so I'm going to carry on with the ceremony. The tensest part of the ceremony takes place when they begin to read out your name as one of the individuals who is going to graduate. They read it out in a large list because there are many undergraduates graduating, and prior to us there were people with DPhils, PhDs as they're known everywhere else, and also people with masters that are graduating. However, when they got to our name, as they did with every other one, you have the proctor's walk. You know at a wedding, when they say, does anyone object to this marriage? And there's this really tense moment when people try not to shuffle and try not to make any noise because they don't want to provoke a response. That is what the proctor's walk is. So the proctor's walk, from where the Vice-Chancellor's sitting, to these great doors, and then they come back. And during this moment, in which they walk from A to B, and then from B to A, people can object to the individuals who have been read on the list to graduate. I've been told that this has not happened for 150 years, and it was only because someone hadn't paid an outstanding debt to the university. But still a very tense moment, and all of us were looking at each other going, I hope our tutor doesn't suddenly appear and burst through the doors and says, I never handed in that essay in North Week. Fortunately that didn't happen. We stand up, we go to the front, and then they read out the Latin promise that we are going to abide by, the values of the university, and we simply have to say, do fidem. And also I've discovered my favourite verb. The verb is to doff, and one doffs one's cap, and there was much doffing to be had at the ceremony, so your mortarboard, when you go like that, that is known as doffing your cap, and that is how you show respect during this ceremony and to your peers when you're graduating, and in general I believe. So you doff your cap and you bow. Then you exit the Sheldonian and put on your graduation hood to represent the fact that you have graduated. You queue up once more, you go back into the Sheldonian, and lots of clapping at us occurs once again, and you graduate. That's it. That's how you graduate. And then you go to the front, the Vice-Chancellor makes eye contact with each of you, and then you queue up outside, making this very interesting shape, and then the Vice-Chancellor, etc., and all the people with defills, they all emerge, and then you scatter. And we scattered by taking photos, saying hello to our family once again, congratulating each other, and then returning to Magdalen College for an afternoon lunch. The lunch was great. It was a buffet, and it was at Magdalen College. They directed a marquee for us, and we got to catch up with everybody. All of our friends, all of our family, all the people that we haven't seen for 3 months, and it was a bittersweet experience. It was bitter because we only had a very short amount of time to interact with people that we'd lived the past 3 years of our life with, which can be annoying, especially if they've got a flight to get to in the next 2 hours. But it was sweet because we got to stand there on the lawns and say to ourselves, hey, we made it. We are officially graduates from the University of Oxford. And to be able to catch up with those people and remember the times in which we have suffered and endured and celebrated through essay crises and deadlines and tutorials together and exams. That was a really cool moment. It was an amazing journey to be part of something that's been happening for about 908 years from when Oxford was founded in 1096. To be a part of that history, to be a part of all of these individuals that have come through those doors and done exactly the same ceremony with the same exact Latin, preserving those traditions and those values for such a long time, that is why I think we should keep tradition, yet we should continue to innovate and challenge our ideals and the arguments that we hold and the beliefs, because it's that search for truth, yet also preserving what foundations we believe should be solid. I think that is what results in human flourishing. I would love to hear your thoughts. I've now graduated, and I will see you on Sunday, subscribers. Oh, before we go, everyone who is taking part in the Mission Notebooks project and being a first mover, thank you so much for buying the limited edition notebook that we are using to develop ourselves as individuals and to help us achieve our goals. I know some of you are using it for your personal statements and for your interview techniques, also learning languages, and also some of you are speaking in TED Talks, which is pretty freaking cool. I didn't mention last week, one of my favourite comments was this one, which is talking about the red and yellow lines in England. I just love the fact that it blew your mind. It just made me laugh. If you'd like to be a part of Mission Notebooks or just learn what it is, do post down in the Google form below and I will sign you up and hook you up with that info in an instant. I will see you next Sunday, subscribers, as I've already said, and thank you to everyone who is partaking in this limited edition project. See ya!